Okay, we're now back. We're gonna try to finish this up so I can actually get started on this video before I leave. So, what my schedule is looking like is tomorrow I gotta get up, go to this formation, do pre-deployment shit like around 10 o'clock, and we'll have closeout formation at 10:45. So I should have the entire day in order to wrap this video up. But Tuesday, 7 a.m., I'm out of here. So you guys have a gigantic playlist. Enjoy it. I put a poll up for my next couple video ideas. Vote on it, and as soon as I get my phone back, we'll see what else we gotta get back. Okay, where was I? So we finished section 5. So section 6 is I had it as a broken system. The Federation is Federation, the ethics of the trolls. Okay. Okay. Well, okay. All right, let's start it up like this. Monsters. Hope people enjoy these videos. It's like these are for verification validation purposes so people know that I actually do write these scripts. I go through the painstaking task around an outline, writing how ever long this essays are going to be, these narratives. Then afterwards, I do fact checks, final drafts, then start recording. But yeah, these do take a while. They definitely do. This is close to home. This actually is close to home. Um. Okay. I'm using a bad word here. I'm not going to use the restricted zone again. I've been using it a lot. Sterile. Lights. Okay. Let's not end that sentence there. Let's kind of let's do this. Idiots. Okay. Help. The good guys, everybody. The good guys. It was. Oh, what's up? So based on lore and reading the manga back then, um, they they were just native to SR 388. Give me a second. Let me actually confirm that. Do 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 do. Yeah, they were just they were native to SR 388. And obviously, the Chozo decided, yeah, these guys are a danger. We have to get rid of it. Let's create the Metroids and go from there. And we also saw how that happened and how that worked. Okay. I feel like I definitely went a lot of detail about. Hold on, let me look at this real quick. Okay, okay, okay. Okay. Please. Visual understand. Okay. I'm gonna have to go over those sections one more time just to be on the safe side. So let's just finish Sector 7 up, then I'll go over each section little by little. Okay. To be honest, this hits close to home because obviously I'm in the military, so it's like, yeah, it's a sir, yes, sir thing. If I don't do my job, I can get in trouble. I can go to jail. Door it. Uh. Okay, let's be cute. A creature of mimicry now trapped. Bureaucracy. And as usual, the Federation believes they can control everything. It's like deja vu all over again. They believe they can control it. They were wrong. As usual. So for the purpose of this video, I went through Metroid Dread. It took me I did like a whole sitting on it again. So it took a few hours, so it's fresh in my memory because it had been a few years since I actually played through Dread. Okay. Let's see. Okay. How can we strengthen this? Every containment? No. Every attempt at domination. Strong word there. Very, very strong. Deeper containments. Okay. Let's see. Containments. Was the planet the ship crashed and exploded on shown at the introduction? Sam's got that. You know what? Let me actually take a look at that intro one more time. That's a good question. It's been a bit. Let's see. Because obviously the BSL station crashing into SR-388 at the end of Fusion caused the planet to get destroyed. Give me a second. Metroid Fusion intro. Not gonna watch the whole thing. I just want to see this. Let's see. Oh, you gotta love that. You gotta love that. Uh. No, she didn't crash. So she crashed into the asteroid belt. Well, she crashed into those asteroids. So SR-388 was still around. Yeah, so that's what happened. Let me just read this over again. I've been assigned to. Oh, God damn it. I've been assigned to watch over a biological research team. So I once again found myself on the surface of SR-388. Okay. It was there I was attacked by a life form I had never encountered before. It was only later that I learned the identity of my attacker, the parasitic organism we now know as X. Unaware of my condition, I was returning to the station when disaster struck. Once the X had infected my central nervous system, I lost consciousness and my ship drifted into the asteroid belt. Yeah. So she crashed into the asteroid belt that was next to the BSL station. Okay. Again, it's one of those funny situations where, yeah, Samus survived because the plot demanded her to survive. Okay, so they were wrong. Every attempt at domination led to deeper ruin. Containment broke. Machines fell. I'm building up into the ME units getting corrupted. ME units were corrupted. ME units were corrupted. Hmm. But I'll describe them real quick. Fleckless shells. The enemies were really pretty scary. No, not scary, but they were pretty efficient. Definitely were efficient predators. I need to describe ZDR real quick. The labs became tombs. The lab became tombs. ZDR became the new SR-388. What I really need to do when I get back, I need to do a video on Zero Mission. Zero Mission, for all intents and purposes, is a great game. It's just not easy. All right, let's see. All right, ZDR became the new SR38, SR 338, 388. Jesus Christ. CDR became the new SR 388. Uh, Hubris plays a big thing with the Federation, created by the same Hubris. Same Hubris. Now, where does this leave us? Hmm. Okay. So this section that I'm working on was primarily just for the federations and ethics. So I've gone into detail about the federation, but now let's talk about where this leaves Samus. And Samus. Hmm. Stands alone. No. Stands. He's technically in the middle of all this, but I'm gonna make it seem like she's a bounty hunter at the end of the day. And I quote, follows her own mantra. Except that one time where she needed permission to use her weapons. Like, still don't understand how that works. Brother M was a weird game. He stands alone in this decay. In this decay. Yeah, I briefly touched upon him earlier. Let's see. Let's see. The security robot, once a tool of safety, is not spared. It fights, it loses, then falls victim to the influence of the X. Yeah, like that security robot, he was a very strange robot, that's for sure. Very fun fight, especially his last one. It feels out of place because if you really think about it, the BSL station's a big station. It's like if I really want to be cute about it, it's like 2D Ishimura from Dead Space. Like it's a very massive ship. Just the fact they just had one security robot is kind of interesting. Very interesting, especially since they had very delicate information and restricted stuff or your eyes only type of stuff. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I think he did. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, look what happened to Adam. His whole entire he dies, but his somehow someone his consciousness got transferred over into Samus's computer. I still think that's crazy. That's a thing. She stands alone in this decay. Okay, this is kind of headcanon what I'm about to write. Yeah, this is kind of a little bit. I don't like using headcanon, but it's just for the pacing. Because Samus is she's a woman of irony and she's a woman of circumstance. If you read her backstory in like the manga or any other media, the canonical ones actually, mind you, as we know, Ridley killed her parents. Chozo trained her to be who she is. She was in the Federation for a while. Obviously, that didn't work out, and she became a bounty hunter after the fact. But everything that built Samus up is by circumstance. So if you really want to be cute about it, the Chozo Ridley started it. The Chozo built upon it. Federation made her become who she was, and a bounty hunter is what she is now. So let's do that. So a soldier. The sol. This is ironic. This is a common misspelling, but it's bad because I'm a soldier. So a soldier spelling soldier wrong. This is a very common misspelling, by the way. Soldier. built by the Chozo. Soldier built by the Chozo, altered by Metroid DNA. Um, haunted by no, let me not start it like that. A woman bred from tragedy. That's the Ridley reference. Soldier built by the Chozo, altered by Metro DNA, haunted by what the Federation made her become. Let's see. See it clearly now. Control is an illusion, which it really, really is, especially since built and raised by the Chozo. You're right. Yeah, that sounds a lot better. They did train her though, so yeah, you're right. We'll do that. Built and built and raised by the Chozo. Yeah, built and raised by the Chozo, altered by Metro DNA, haunted by what the Federation made her become. And it's funny, especially since the Federation and Ico seen as the good guys in all this. Hmm. She sees clearly now. Control is an illusion. I'm thinking what I should add here. Federation. No. Hmm. The Federation. I was about to say benevolent, but I don't want to say benevolent here. Let's do an analogy. The Federation's chains are rusted. Systems are hollow. Let me read how this sounds. Okay. A woman bred from tragedy, built and raised by the Chozo, altered by Metroid DNA, haunted by what the Federation made her become. She sees clearly now. Control is an illusion. The Federation's chains are rusted. The systems they built are hollow. Okay, I'll probably change that later, but for now, I think that's fine. Okay, let's continue on. Like lead into the X. So the horror of the X is not just. It's not just that they infect you. Um, and that's funny. Like, what was the Federation gonna do with the X? That's a funny question. Like, what were you guys gonna do? And like your actions make no sense at times. Yeah, they're arrogant. They're arrogant at the end of the day. So the horror of the X is not just in what it affects. And yeah, like it's not a plot hole. They just haven't expanded on it yet. They should have expanded on that because the Federation does a lot of weird things. All right, the horror of the X is not just in it, John. Not just in what it affects, but how it exposes. It reveals the Federation's arrogance because they're very, 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 very arrogant. Hmm. So they're trying to control everything at the end of the day. So arrogance. It reveals the Federation's arrogance and the cost of every. The reason why I put that there is mostly because of what they did in Fusion. Like they were straight up breeding Metroids for funsies. I'm obviously not funsies, but they were just breeding them for safety and research purposes, which makes no sense. Okay. Right. Life. Hmm. They try to shape life, twisted by greed and fear, definitely. They try to shape life. They try to shape life. They try to shape life. Before their soldiers destroyed, they probably would have infected as the time bomb take over the mission. It's almost like Resident Evil with those crazy viruses. It is. It's the T virus, the G virus, T Veronica. It's all the viruses. It's just Umbrella was on the Umbrella was the facade. Like the research company and its bigwigs would conduct all this crazy experiments in order to make super soldiers at the end of the day. It's just the Federation is under the guise of being the good guys. So if you want to be cute, the Federation is just Umbrella. All right, let me reword this. They try to shape life, but life, the things that Samus has to deal with, but life twisted by greed and fear shaped them instead. Like the stuff she has to deal with is like actually pretty crazy. Hmm. So in a sense, the X didn't. Yeah, yeah, she did. The X didn't break the system. The X didn't break the system. It showed how broken it already was. All right, so I'm gonna read this section over again just to see. Monsters don't rise from the deep. Sometimes they wear uniforms, speak in policy, smile behind glass. The Federation was content with survival. It wanted dominion over the Metroids, over the X, over death itself. Science became a leash. The Federation didn't see threats to contain. They saw tools to wield. First, the Metroids, once engineered to suppress the X, they quickly became assets, weapons, commodities, genocidal organisms bred in labs under sterile lights, their original purpose an afterthought. Then the X, a parasite so dangerous it led to the destruction of SR-388, and yet they couldn't help themselves. They tried to study it, replicate it, store it. A creature of mimicry now trapped in the heart of bureaucracy. They believed they can control it. They could control it. They believed they could control it. They believed they could control it. They were wrong. Every attempt at domination led to deeper ruin. Containment broke, machines fell, M units were corrupted, fleshless shells turned predators. The labs became tombs. ZDR became the new SR-388, reanimated by the same humorous. And Samus, she stands alone in this decay, a woman bred from tragedy, built and raised by the Chozo, altered by Metroid DNA, haunted by what the Federation made her become. She sees clearly now. Control is an illusion. The Federation's chains are rusted. The systems they built are hollow. The horror of the X is not in what it affects, but in how it exposes. It reveals the Federation's arrogance and the cost of every attempt to play God. They tried to shape life, but life, twisted by greed and fear, shaped them instead. The X didn't break the system, it showed how broken it already was. Okay, I like it. All right, the next section. All right, we got to talk now. We have to talk about Samus and Dread because that's good. That's a big role. Okay, Samus's journey in Metroid Dread culminates in the full DNA. Okay. Our results of the vaccine. It's a really interesting game. Very interesting game. I love the fact that it ties in the events of Fusion into from Fusion into here. She received the events of Metroid Fusion. But it's definitely different. Hmm. Not merely symbolic. It's again ironic. It manifests physically. It manifests physically. Her Metroid suit is pretty cool. I'm not going to deny that. I think out of all the suits that she's had, I would have to go with the gravity suit from Fusion. That's definitely my favorite one. That Varia's cool though. I'm not gonna deny every Varia suit rendition is actually pretty cool. Obviously Dark Samus, well not being Samus is a pretty cool design too. It manifests physically as Jesus Christ. Oh, there we go. As the Metroid suit. You can't go wrong with blue. More sleek, more simple. If you want to be cute about it, it, it's technically just her in her Zero suit with the mask on, but it's a very cool outfit. Or cool suit in general. But you can never go wrong with blue. Fuck, Metroid suit. There we go. And of course, someday I'm gonna have to talk about Hyper Beam. It's a Metroid suit granting her. She's straight up just a chimera now. She's everything. Abilities. There we go. Upon contact. Let me just reread this over again. Samus' journey in Metroid Dread culminates in the full activation of her Metroid DNA. They nerf Hyper from burst damage to DPS. You gotta make everything fair and balanced, I guess. Okay, Samus's journey in Metroid Deck culminates in the full activation of her Metroid DNA, a result of the vaccine she received during the events of Metroid Fusion. This transformation is not merely symbolic. I forgot merely. Merely symbolic. It manifests physically as the Metroid suit, granting her the hyper beam and the ability to absorb energy from enemies upon contact. Okay. All right. So let's. Obviously, there's like a monkey's paw type of thing. Even if you get something great, there's always a catch. So Samus gaining the Metroid suit comes at a cost. She becomes a human. Literally a human Metroid. That humanity, gone. All right. Let's see. The Metroid. Let me word this in a weird way. The Metroid suit represents both untapped potential, but the Metroid suit represents both untapped potential. No, unparalleled power. Well, she got this. Yeah, it's irreversible if I remember correctly. Yeah, it is. Yeah, like yeah. Okay, yeah. She's well, when she got the Metroid DNA, she stopped being like fully human, regardless. But this just made everything just come full circle. So I'm gonna explain myself. Let me just cook for a second. While while it enables Thomas to overcome overcome her, her adversaries. It also, geez, I cannot spell today. It also signifies signifies her departure. Okay. Technically, when she got the DNA, that's she's not fully human anymore. Her transformation. That's what. Yeah, because if you look at the intro again, it says and I quote, "A cure was found." A cure was found instantly. No, a cure was not found. Y'all were researching this, and y'all were researching this beforehand. Samus is a guinea pig. Human Metroid. It is. It's irreversible if I remember correctly. I'm gonna highlight this just in case. I'm gonna fact check later. I remember it was irreversible, but I'm not 100% sure. Making it points. Let me just highlight this. I have to really confirm that later. Making a point of no return. Making it a point of no return. I need to do like a straight up just video on Dark Samus and SAX someday. Hmm. We can expand on this a little bit. Um, because you bring up a good point. So I think the Federation used her as a lab rat when they vaccinated her with the Metroid DNA. So if you want to be cute about it, it's genetic manipulation. Jeez, I can't talk right now. It is genetic manipulation. You just gave me an idea. Samus's transformation raises. She could, yeah, she definitely could. She could. And this is funny because of IRL stuff with the whole dire wolves being brought back from extinction. If I remember correctly, they put the genome inside of gray wolves, and they made dire wolves from that. Let's not play God, people. This is how Jurassic Park happens. But yeah. So Samus is a guinea pig. So consequences of genetic manipulation in the loss of self. Samus's transformation rises ethical questions about the consequences of genetic manipulation and the loss of self. Her evolution into a being that is neither fully human nor Metroid challenges the notion of identity at the cost of survival. Okay, I like it. Hmm. Okay, so let's think about this for a second. Hmm. And again, as I mentioned time and time again, Samus lives a very ironic life, whether it be becoming a surrogate mother to the baby Metroid, getting saved by Metroid DNA when she was hunting them for years. Now he's this weird hybrid of a human and Metroid. So the Metroid narrative poses a question. The Metroid narrative poses a question, a haunting question. We'll put a little bit of fluff in this, a haunting question. So this has been asked before. Um, I'm gonna do a Star Wars real quick. Um, you sword, you become the very thing you sought to destroy when Anakin joined the dark side. So in Samus's case, it's like she became something. She became something that she hunted. Question: Survival? If survival necessitates, he should. It's fair game now. She's literally a Metroid. Oh, people aren't gonna know what that means. Let me get a cinnamon. Okay. Survival entails Survival entails survival entails becoming. What I'm going with this is so if survival entails becoming what you once feared, or in Samus's case, if survival entails becoming what you once hunted, is it a victory? Like, is it? Like, do you win? Like, who's the victor here? Because obviously you became the very thing you sought to destroy, which is literally like poetic irony right there. I know. People are funny. Okay, it's kind of hard because I have like because of work and just because of school, my vocabulary is like all over the place. Yeah, Metroid had the last laugh. They do. Like she loses. She literally loses. Ah, boy, yeah, that she definitely does lose here. Hmm. Where do I capitalize on this? Give me a second to think. The self-analysis. The self-analysis underscores underscores the series' exploration, transformation, transformation, and price of survival. Okay. Let me read this over again just to make sure we're good. Samus' journey in Metroid Dread culminates in the full activation of her Metroid DNA, a result of the vaccine she received during the events of Metroid Fusion. This transformation is not merely symbolic; it manifests physically as the Metroid suit, granting her the Hyper Beam and the ability to absorb energy from. They should have always ended the game with a mission accomplished. They should have. They should. It's funny because Nintendo does that with a lot of their games. They put the gigantic question mark, like the end question mark. Shout outs to Golden Sun. But yeah, they should have. It manifests physically as the Metroid suit, granting her the Hyper Beam and the ability to absorb energy from enemies upon contact. The Metroid suit represents both unparalleled power and profound isolation. While it enables While it enables Samus to overcome her adversaries, it also signifies her departure from humanity. Her transformation into a human Metroid is irreversible, making it a point of no return. Jesus Christ. This is the whiskey in me right now. I cannot spell for the life of me today. Making a point of no return in her identity, Samus' transformation raises ethical questions about the consequence of genetic manipulation and the loss of self. Her evolution into a being that is neither fully human nor Metroid challenges the notion of identity at the cost of survival. The Metroid narrative poses a haunting question. If survival entails becoming what you once feared, is it truly victory? Is it truly a victory? This self analysis underscores the series' exploration of identity, transformation, and the price of survival. It does. Let's see. Let me just look at my notes for a second. I think that should be it for the sections. I'm just wanted to make sure. Stuff like this that makes her a very complex character, even by Nintendo standards. Hmm. Okay. Let's see. What do we need to put? The We'll start summarizing everything. The X Parasite. The X Parasite is more than a monster. I've mentioned reflection a lot because it is a reflection of their hosts. It is a reflection, cold. It really depends. It really depends. Like, if you give the devs some time, they can make something amazing. But it really just depends. It's like when I tell people like the Metroid games have a dark like a horror aspect to them. They just never believe me. He's like, it's ready E for everyone. It's like, no, it doesn't matter. Like, Ocarina of Time is E for everyone, and yet you have Shadow Temple, Dead Hand, all this crazy shit. But Metroid, yeah, like E for everyone. No, no, it's not. No, it definitely is not. And Unfeeling. It's one of my favorite franchises. The X Parasite is more than a monster. It's a reflection, cold, perfect, unfeeling. It doesn't kill. It doesn't kill for survival or dominance. It kills to become. And in doing so, and in doing so, it steals more than life. I mentioned this before, but the full horror of the X was shown in Fusion when that X parasite, it took the form of that researcher who was overheating the pyro sector. It was about to overheat the entire station. That is terrifying. Deal's identity. Okay. Just going over something. Give me a moment. Hmm? Yeah, and taking a host of giant monster. Yeah, that too. Give me 1 second. Nightmare and Nemesis. Nightmare still haunts me to this day. Old Nightmare, not the new one that they made. Okay. Parasite. Not a villain. What did we say the other day? It's just evil ditto. Yep. Hmm. Honestly, you brought up a good point right there. I'm gonna put that in there. There you go. You get a piece of the video. There you go. I have the perfect quote for this. Yep. There we go. Alex. Cool. Well, resonates. We are what we pretend to be, so we must be careful about what we pretend to be. So if you want to be cute about it, think about how the X actually is. It becomes you. It learns who you are. It mirrors you, and then it replaces you. So I've mentioned this before in my stream earlier. There's nothing scarier than a clone or a doppelganger because there's some scary implications dealing with that. Because a doppelganger is you. It has the same mind as you. It knows how you feel. It looks exactly like you. It can replace you. Let's just say your doppelganger kills you. It can just take over your life completely and no one would ever notice. And that's scary. That's just terrifying. It learns. And the SAX case is like it was straight up just Samus. It's Samus with no remorse. That's all that's all SAX was. I'm gonna throw in the Crocomire example. Because remember, Crocomire wasn't doing anything. Yeah, Revenge of the Body Snatchers. That face that character does at the end, and just pointing at you, will forever haunt me. So the way I like to see SAX is, it's just Samus just completely unhinged, like in the Crocomire fight in Super Metroid. Like the Crocomire was literally not doing anything, and Samus just came and just killed it. No reason at all. Learns you. mirrors you, mirrors you, and replaces you. Again, this is the whole doppelganger horror theory. It replaces you so that your and even like your own enemies won't even notice that you've been replaced. And that's the scary thing about it. Like, I know Samus has dealt with a lot of things over the years. Dark Samus, Phazon, Metroids, but I feel like the X Parasite is potentially one of her most dangerous threats. Okay. I'm gonna do a pun. It learns you, mirrors you, and then replaces you that replaces you, even your replaces you that even your enemies wouldn't notice. Wouldn't notice. Hmm. It replaces you so precisely. Precisely. Just putting a little more emphasis on this. Precisely that even you that even your enemies wouldn't notice. It learns you, mirrors you, and then replaces you so precisely that even your enemies wouldn't notice. I'm gonna do a pun. I'm gonna do a Smash Brothers pun. You are reduced to an echo. Oh boy. You're reduced to an echo. An affection pretending to be you. I like how that sounds. Pretending to be you. All right. So I need to think about this real quick because the X Parasite, it mimics you. Like, we'll use the SAX as an example. It mimicked Samus at full power. Like, the SAX is Samus, just with her humanity gone. It's just Samus being what she is, a bounty hunter. No remorse, like nothing, like no doubt, no self doubt, no humanity. She's just what she is. So would it mean that it technically improved Samus by getting rid of her humanity? That's a good question. That's actually a very interesting question right there. Besides the whole AI issue with the SAX, like I mentioned before, there's a lot of crazy implications with it. I know what to do. All right. And what it makes, it improves. Yeah. Just because because the X is feeder. It is evolution without restraint. Yeah, yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah, because that's a very interesting question right there. You copied Samus, but did you improve on Samus's faults, or what? What is there besides you just mimicking Samus? Because Samus has her issues. Like, she has a lot of issues, a lot of issues. Oh, so that's a very interesting question you asked right there. So no. Um because remember the Metroids are the Metroids are the X's natural enemy, right? So the SAX the entire time throughout this whole entire game was hunting Samus because in a sense it was Samus at the end of the day. It was Samus. So Samus is gonna take out whichever enemy poses a threat. So think about it. If it senses that there's an Omega Metroid there, since it's Samus, it's gonna go to try to take out the threat because it's Samus at the end of the day. Hmm. Yeah, that's very interesting. Because if you even though it's kind of it's a reference to Super Metroid with the baby Metroid saving Samus at the end of the day, but yeah, like since it was Samus, it sensed the threat of the Omega Metroid and went after it. Okay. There is some. I mentioned this before. There is some irony here. Again, there is irony in this. Like with Resident Evil with Jill in 3, she was getting chased by Nemesis the entire time. Nemesis infected her with the T virus, but Jill was saved when they gave her a vaccine. Years later, um, in Resident Evil 5 and pre-Resident Evil 5, she was captured by Wesker, who tried to infect her with the Ouroboros virus, but it didn't work because there were still some leftovers of the Nemesis virus that didn't get the T virus that didn't get taken out. So in a sense, Nemesis, even though it tried to kill Jill in Resident Evil 3, ends up saving her later on. So the SAX, even though it was trying to kill Samus the entire time, ends up saving her in the end, albeit probably unintentionally. The baby. Yep. Um. Okay. Well, let's see. Because the X is not an invader, it's evolution without restraint. Um. Biology. Biology. Empathy. I like that. Okay. Um. How do I want to finish this? All right. We'll be we'll be sassy about this. Just give me 1 second while I think. Try to get some more whiskey because I'm thinking of some diabolical stuff to write for this final portion of the conclusion. The crazy thing, they absorb the ice beam. The way Metroid Fusion made the the ice beam seem like it was just the most overpowered thing imaginable. Even though the other weapons that Samus ends up getting are just busted in every single way imaginable. Ah, yeah. All right. I'm about to make some diabolical. I'm thinking of some diabolical stuff to write here. Do not drink if you're not an adult. Okay. Let's see. Even even the most instinct are only obstacles overcome Like, yeah, I like how this is gonna sound. This is gonna sound good. Rewritten. This is what the X does. Or recycled. Okay, but even the even the most even even the most sacred elements of identity, voice, memory, instinct are only obstacles to overcome, rewritten and recycled. And when the X finally spreads, I think, yeah, Dorkly did a video on this if Dittos took over. God, I'm old. All right. And when the X finally spreads, it won't look like an apocalypse. Everything you knew, everyone you trusted. This is what's scary about it. Okay, just slightly wrong. Not because that's to fool you. And when the X finally spreads, it won't look like an apocalypse. It will look like everything you knew, everyone you trusted, just slightly wrong. Not because the X wants to fool you, because it already has. Okay. So we must ask. And again, it comes to the whole doppelganger thing. If something wears your skin, shares your thoughts, and continues your life. So we must ask, if something wears your skin, shares your thoughts, and continues your life, continues your life. Ooh, no, what makes you more real than it? If I like it. Yeah, I like it. All right, so let's review each section. This is gonna be a long one, but this is good to wrap things up before. It's gonna be good to wrap things up for the month that I'm gone. So let's take a look. So that's the introduction. We've talked about where it began in SR 388. They're native there. Okay. This is where I need to actually like focus on accuracy. The X does not need merely adapt. It evolves with terrifying elegance. Each variation is a mutation of function, a step forward in the parasite's cold refinement of life into design. These forms drift through the corridors of derelict stations, forgotten worlds, some benign, others lethal. The yellow X, the most common form, it holds life, vitality stolen from the victim and offered back like a bribe. Absorbing, it heals Samus. A grim irony, the parasite nourishes with the remnants of what it consumed. Green X, slightly rarer, the strain replenishes ammunition. Energy siphoned from corpses, now fueling the weapons meant to destroy it. The X turns death into utility. Red X, a rare potent variation, life and ammo both restored. The prize at the heart of the slaughter. It offers everything, but only after something has been taken. Blue X, a form twisted by cold. They have absorbed ice, and for Samus, Samus still vulnerable to without the right suit. They are deaf incarnate, still waiting, freezing. Core X, the most terrifying form. They have fully consumed their host, mind, memory, and power. Heavily armored, these abominations carry the very abilities of what they've devoured. When they die, they split, releasing the essence of stolen identity, still pulsing. Okay, I have to look at this. Every boss in Metro Fusion is more than a fight. They're echoes, distorted reflections of the creatures they once were. Arachnus, a twitching mass of infected muscle, the scary robot, once a tool of safety, is not spared. It fights, it loses, then falls victim to the influence of the X. Ceres, sleek, fast, moving in violent broken surges. Zabi, bulging with unnatural rhythm. Yakuza, jerks and skitters like a marionette strung up by rot. Nightmare, an experimental weapon of war, its face dripping and melting. Even Ridley, long dead, is not spared. His corpse is reanimated into a state of half-life. He shrieks, he fights, but there is nothing left inside, only mimicry, only memory. And though all of the one truth becomes clear, the X don't just imitate, they reinterpret. They twist their host, adding new instincts, new limbs, new violence. What was once alive becomes a cruel caricature. A performance in flesh. Every fight is a confrontation with the past. The return of an enemy long thought dead, the reversion of a familiar form, the nightmare of a memory brought back to life, and at the penultimate encounter, the SAX. This penultimate confrontation isn't against the monster, it's against Samus, her strength, her tools, her instincts. But this version of Samus doesn't hesitate, doesn't flinch, doesn't feel. It's not a battle for survival, it's a battle for identity. In Fusion, the greatest threat is not what lies in front of you, but what lies within. Okay, I think so far what we have is good. This is gonna be a relatively long video. This is really gonna be long. Okay, cool. Let me just read this conclusion, and I think we should be good to go. The X Parasite is more than a monster. It's a reflection, cold, perfect, and unfeeling. It doesn't kill for survival or dominance. It kills to become, and in doing so, it steals more than life. It steals more than life. It steals identity, memory, meaning. The X Parasite is not a villain. It doesn't hate. It doesn't need a reason. It is simply a perfect engine for imitation. The X is like an animal. It survives through instinct. In the words of Jesus Christ, not Jesus Christ, I completely fucked that up. In the words of Kurt Vonnegut, we are what we pretend to be, so we must be careful about what we pretend to be. This quote resonates the quote resonates deeper when viewed from the X's perspective. It learns you, mirrors you, and then replaces so precisely that even your own enemies wouldn't notice. I gotta fix this. There we go. And then it replaces you so precisely that even your enemies wouldn't notice. You are reduced to an echo, a performance, an infection, pretending to be you. That is true. That is actually very true. It learns you, mirrors you, and then replaces you so precise that even your enemies wouldn't notice. You're reduced to an echo, a performance, an infection pretending to be you. And what it mimics, it improves because the X is not an invader. It is an evolution without restraint, biology without empathy. Even the most sacred elements of identity, voice, memory, instinct, are obstacles to overcome, rewritten, or recycled. And when the X finally spreads, it won't look like an apocalypse. It will look like everything you knew, everyone you trusted, just slightly wrong. Not because the X wants to fool you, but because it already has. So we must ask, if something wears your skin, shares your thoughts, and continues your life, what makes you more real than it? Okay, let's. Okay. I'm gonna add that in there. The fact that it's able to do a morph ball baffles me, but it's Samus at the end of the day. Okay. I think this is good. So let's wrap her up. I'm gonna start doing the final draft after I have dinner, and I'll have this released maybe tomorrow, the earliest Tuesday before I leave. So be on the lookout for this video. I'll be back in a month. There's a whole plethora of stuff I gotta do when I get back. I have a couple more Metroid videos I want to do when I get back in May. But good stuff. This is gonna be a great video. I will see people when I get back eventually. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.